Hi, my name is Cheyenne Gadsden, author of Dream Big, Young One, Believe It and Will Come True, mentor, social entrepreneur, Cheyenne's Purpose, LLC, and you're tuned in to So Booking Cool.
So booking, so booking, so booking cool.
There's so motherfucking cool to listen to So Booking Cool.
Welcome to So Booking Cool, it's Jewel B. Today's guest is a social entrepreneur, making her the founder and owner of Cheyenne's Purpose, LLC. She is an educator, has a background in social services. She's a mentor, fundraising consultant, and author of the debut children's book, Dream Big, Young One, Believe It and It Will Come True, illustrated by Afzal Khan. Here with us today, she is Cheyenne Gadsden. Stay tuned for our conversation, only on So Booking Cool.
Hi, Cheyenne.
Hi, how are you?
Well, thank you. Happy New Year. Did I say your last name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So last year, you went on a spiritual journey to get closer to God and to fulfill your purpose. So what led to that? And is this being applied to the new year?
What led to that was just me being so upset with the way things was going, not like getting enough time for myself, not really accepting what it is and where life has taken me, where things is going. And I just had to remember I'm in an isolation period right now just because I just had moved into my own apartment and I needed to really heal from a lot of the things that was going on in my past journey. So for me, I chose to just go down this spiritual journey just for my health, for my wealth, and just well-being overall. And it opened up a lot of doors for 2022. He gave me confirmation, which I prayed for, and my confirmation was the book. Launching the book was the confirmation to actually take a dive into entrepreneurship.
Wow, Cheyenne. Did you know that that book would be a children's book?
I knew I would write a book. I didn't know what genre it would be. I kept thinking to myself that what would be the easiest way to get out a book? And I was just like, oh, a children's book. That's the easiest thing to do. So let's write one. And writing that book, it only took me 10 minutes. It was just the words from God. It wasn't me. It was just a free-flowing thing just because I speak these words on a daily basis. And I continue to speak that into 2023, no matter who is listening, no matter who am I speaking it to, no matter what child I'm talking to, it will continue to be spoken in existence just because I speak whatever I want to do into existence. And I believe that it will come true.
You know, how can people strengthen their spirituality?
First, you gotta that's a good question. For me, I was baptized in the church. So that's what sparked up my spirituality. And I just heard something. It was like a weird thing that happened. I just felt something was going to happen one day. And that day was, I got up and I was already crying at church, crying because of the ministry, because of what was going on. And Jesus was just like, get up and walk to the altar. Get up and accept him. And I was just like, I knew something was going to happen. I felt something was going to happen. I told my grandmother after it happened. I was like, I knew something was going to happen. I felt it, and it happened. And from then on, I just never stopped. Like, I knew it was going to be a warfare once you accept Christ, of battling with your old self to your new self. But I chose to want to seek further into a new self and really wanted to challenge myself to be a better me, for me and for my surroundings.
Yes. Speaking of a better me and challenges, do you believe in New Year resolutions?
I do. I like to challenge. If you don't challenge yourself, then you're not growing, you're not learning. If you're not challenging yourself in education or in skills or anything that you don't know how to do, If you're not challenging yourself, you're not going to get the benefits from it.
And then speaking of challenges, Cheyenne, you started your entrepreneurial journey in 2018. What attracted you to entrepreneurship?
Ever since I was a little girl, I've always said I wanted to be a business owner. And I meant that because I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm a person that is very big on leadership and very hands-on with everything. So I want to learn every component, every aspect of whatever it is. And for me, I'm too advanced versus a lot of other people who are working for a check. I don't work for a check. I work through the passion that God gave me. And every time I work at a job, my passion oversees what their mission is or what their purpose of them being there is. And I'm just like, I get very frustrated of being at these jobs who don't have that drive to really serve a purpose, to really make a change. You can make a change and put in full force into the organization. But if you're just there for a dollar sign and want to claim you're making a change and it's nothing really happening, what are you really doing?
Yeah. Should people choose jobs that they're interested in or passionate about?
I would say jobs is just a learning stepping stool. Because internships, I've learned this. Internships teach you way much more than when you actually work the role itself. And I'm just like, for me, if I'd known that, I would have just stuck with internships for a little bit while, because you can get paid with internships depending on which ones you go for, and learn way much more than if you was actually to do the job. Because the job, they say they're going to train you, they say they're going to do this, but you're really training yourself. And if I have to train myself, I'm going to make sure I'm 10 times better than you in this organization.
I love that. Where did you get that mindset from?
God, to be honest, because I've always had this personality. Man didn't give me these skills, these knowledge, the tools that I have, the sassy personality that I have. It just didn't come from man. It came from God. Like, he really molded me with an old soul, I claim, because I'm only 25 and I talk and act like I'm 30 something years old.
Is that something that people tell you, that you're an old soul?
Yes, a lot of people think I'm older than what I am just because of the way I speak. I speak in words of wisdom and just words of experience, feeling like I've experienced so much. But even though I'm 25, I experienced enough from my own self and my own spirit. It doesn't matter your age. You can experience a lot as a 3-year-old. You can experience a lot as a 1-year-old. You can just experience a lot at any age. It's just how you carry that experience and how you utilize it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you think spirituality is for everyone?
I had this talk with my friend yesterday, and he knows how I am. He knows that I speak Bible. He knows that I speak Christianity, but I don't force it upon him. He'll listen to it. He'll relate to it because it's relatable, but I'm not going to force spirituality or religion onto a person. If you feel the words that I'm saying to you, it would move you. The Holy Spirit would move you on its own. I don't really need to do much work to get you to be in that spiritual realm. I can just speak the words that God told me to speak to you, and he would do the rest.
And God spoke to you, called you to do your very first book, Dream Big, Young One. And what you said, you wrote it in 10 minutes. Do you remember the first person that you told and said, hey, I wrote a book?
I actually called my friend. I actually was on the phone with one friend before I called the other friend. So I was on the phone with one friend, and I was at work because I was at YMCA. I worked at YMCA as a team coordinator. And I was just tired of working there. I didn't want to be there. I knew I was going to be transitioning. And I just was like, I'm going to write a book. And within the 10 minutes of really expressing the words down pat, I was just so happy because I didn't write only one book in 10 minutes. I wrote another book within the next 10 minutes. So for me, I had to tell my friend I actually wrote a book. And he was just so excited for me, so happy for me. And then I told my other friend, and she was just excited. I read the words to them and they were just happy. Like, I cried because I actually wrote something. I actually wrote what I wanted to write, and write from the heart and not just from, oh, let me just get something out on paper. No, I actually wrote to where you have to think as parent and child.
And, you know, aside from you sharing something like that, that's so touching and motivational and inspiring, it is often that when people share that they've written a book, they do often get a very proud reaction. Why do you think that is?
That is a milestone. Not everybody thinks that they can do something until they actually do it. For me, I always knew that I would be an author. I always knew I would be able to write a book. I always write. I write all the time. I write on paper. I type. I do it all every day, all day. And for me, I was just like, what is the message I want to get across? I think that will be the hold up, is what is your message before you actually write? Because it's just like an essay. You don't really know what you want to talk about until you start just thinking about what do you do on a regular basis. I always preach to everybody or just give everybody motivational talks or, words of encouragement. And I'm just like, well, I'm going to just write it in a children's book, because a lot of these children, especially Black and brown individuals in my city, which is New York, they have a lot of struggling issues. They are not motivated enough. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to do all these different things. But you just want them to go to college, or you just want them to do what you want them to do and not really feed into what they want to do and not support them in that aspect. So if you're not going to do it as their parent or their guardian or grandparent, I would do it as the mentor looking inwards from the outside.
So Dream Big Young One is early in its arrival. What has been the response so far, though?
My mom actually has the book, is in her room. She wants me to sign it, but I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to write in your book, mommy. I just don't know. I don't have the words for her book yet. But for my other family members, they are excited. The platforms that I have it, they are excited. And it's just like, I want everybody to really enjoy the book. My brother and his wife bought the book and they don't have a kid yet. I'm waiting for them to have one so they can read it to their bundle of joy and really enjoy the book for what it is and not for what I wanted it to be.
Would you say that it's like an affirmation book for young children?
It is. It is. It does have Bible scriptures in the back of the book as a reference, but that's mainly for the parents, just because kids are not going to understand unless they are in that household where they are spoken the Bible to. And then it has activity pages for them, and it has an affirmation page for the parent to recite to your child in any situation that they're going through, no matter if they're down, they up, doesn't matter. Recite the quote scripture to your child for them to really feel empowered by it.
That is so awesome and so cool that you decided to include activity pages as well in the story. Was there any part of writing the book where you had fun? And which part was that, without giving it away?
I think my fun part was just actually seeing the illustrations come to light. I wouldn't even express it being the words on paper. I would actually feel like the excitement was seeing the picture come together with the words.
And what about that feels exciting? Like, tell us what that's like.
Just actually seeing your own self, or seeing the same person of color reciting the words that you wrote in the book to the little children. It's just like, that is me. I recite those words to the kids in the daycare, or I recite those words to my middle school or my high schools or my college students. And I'm just like, that's me in the book. So it's very relatable. You'll feel like that is you in the book. And the graphics of the book is really, really crisp. It's really fresh. And I'm just like, man, these graphics are good.
For sure. Cheyenne, do you think that it's an author's job to tell stories that reflect the world, or should books provide an escape from the world for readers?
It can be a mixture of both, depending on what type of genre you're writing. I feel like if you are true to who you are, you should want to shed light on what's God's purpose of how he perceives the world and what he wants people to know about the world and how to get around the world or just get through the world. So for me, I would say write the book from your experience, other people's experiences, if that is allowed, or just speak on others' experiences in a general sense. Just because those are more relatable instead of trying to keep everybody from the world. Don't hide the world from people because in real life, they're going to experience the world in general.
Absolutely. And speaking of the world, you did mention Cheyenne, and we had talked about this before, you know, you being a New Yorker. So what's it like being a New York-based entrepreneur, a New York-based author?
It feels great just because I'm one of many authors that come out of New York. I'm one of many greats that come out of New York. For me, I'm just maybe one of many who are faith-driven entrepreneurs, faith-driven book authors. And that is great to one day see my book in a library, to see my book in a museum or wherever it will take me in New York. Just seeing it came out of New York is a really big accomplishment. I love being a New Yorker and knowing that I'm doing wonders in my own community before I touch base in any other state.
Ooh, before I touch base in any other state. Yes. What do you love about being a New Yorker? What's your favorite thing about it?
I would say that the commute. There's transportation everywhere. You can get everywhere. You can go anywhere you want to go. You don't have to wait on no cab ride, no friend come pick you up. You can just hop on the train, the bus. You can walk if it's close in distance. There's New York City bikes you can take. There's a whole bunch of ways you can get around and explore. There's a lot of things I don't know about New York that I would want to go and explore. And I'm just like, I'm going to do that in 2023. That is on my vision board. I have a whole system of my vision board. And I'm just like, 2023 will be a lot of unlocking things that I don't know about myself.
Ooh. Speaking of vision boards, when did you start making them? Do you remember?
I started making them, I want to say in 2019, 2020 maybe. That's when I actually started to really get into it. But the vision board that I made for this year, it took some intentional thinking. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to put pictures. No, it wasn't like that. Like I started my vision board process in December 18th of 2023. So that's a pretty good amount of time until January 1st to really present your vision board. The way I did it was I have 10 sections. So I have like spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, personal, education, blah, blah, blah. And then I put 3 goals of why I want those on my vision board. Those are my 3 intentions. 3 is a spiritual and a symbolic number for me. So I chose 3 goals for each section. And then I put picture to words, well, words to picture. So on my actual vision board, which is the whole board, I actually matched the picture that I would want that symbolics that specific section. And then I did it like that and I have 20 pictures on my board. And I was just like, man, I really have 20 pictures on this board. It doesn't feel like I put 20 pictures on here, but it actually is 20 pictures on the vision board.
Do you look at it every day?
I have it on my phone. It's literally, it's a digital vision board, so I save it as a screensaver on my phone, and I look at it every day, and I make sure it's with me every day. And it's on my computer, it's on my iPad, so it follows me wherever I go.
And when you mention those different categories, are they written like the emotional part?
Yeah, they're written out of like how I want to be emotionally. So for mental, I have also like words that of the reasons why I put mental. So it says decompress. And one of them is just like declutter from stress. what takes up your time? Like, it's just like little sayings of how can I decompress from mental stress? What takes up my time? Not letting negative emotions take up my time. Not letting negative people take up my time. Not letting people who are just talking or expressing their emotions, but not putting actions to the words. So really setting aside what I will not do. It's kind of like boundaries in your vision board, but it's not strict boundaries, but you just know where your level is going to be at in the new year.
Now, Cheyenne, how are you when it comes to setting goals? Do you give yourself, I believe you mentioned briefly, but I want to hear more about, do you give yourself a deadline for when these goals should come to life? Or are you more like God will take the reins on that?
For certain things on my vision board, I have goals, like goal setting time frame. So for me, I would want to be out of debt by at least June of 2023. And if he decides that he would pull me out of it way before then, that is up to him and it's cleared. I don't even need to say, the deadline, I got to still make it. Nope, it was already cleared. So I do set goals and actual deadlines, but it just depends on what it is. If it's educational based, that is a continuous thing. There is no deadline. If it's a mental thing, emotional thing, physical thing, that is, and there is no deadline for those things. You continue to be healthy in all aspects of those areas. The only deadline would be if you want to travel. Now, if you want to travel and you say you want to travel in August, you know that you have a deadline of this is when you want to travel. So you have to start making your plans now. So it just depends on what you are going for that you will put a deadline to.
That is some sound advice right there. A lot of the things that you're saying, Cheyenne. You did mention that you always knew that you would become an author. What kind of books did you enjoy, and are those the same kind of books you enjoy now?
For me, I love poetry. So I'm a poet. That is a secret thing that a lot of people who knows me know about. But I'm a poet. It's the easiest thing to read for me. I don't really like to read like novels because I'm just like, I don't like to read on a regular basis. So I need something a little bit more easier for me to just get through. And poetry was one of them. I've gotten into Christian books lately just because I want to strengthen my faith and really get in tune to what I'm doing intentionally. So that's been on my mind. And then children's books. I'm surrounded by children all the time. I have 9 nieces and nephews. So I'm just like, I'm surrounded by too many of you guys. And yeah, I need some books. There's not enough children's books and a lot of self-help books and all these other good books. Those are great, but you're giving it for the adult when they are still struggling to try to figure out where they want to go in life. Let's do it at the children's age, so that way we're helping them mold and grow into what they want to become instead of having those hiccups as an adult.
What do you want people to know about you as an author?
That I'm not one to play with, meaning not in a negative way, meaning in a good way of when I say I'm going to do something, I mean I'm going to do something. I'm not going to just be like, complaining about it or just venting to you about it. No, I'm going to do as I say. If I'm feeling down, I know I'm going to get back up the next day because God is not going to let me be down for long. I know I'm going to get up and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do because I want my life to change. I have this 5-minute rule, and it's an actual rule. It's like, if it's not going to affect you in 5 years, don't be mad for 5 minutes. Don't be mad for longer than 5 minutes. Something along those lines. But I wrote that on my vision board because I'm not going to continue to be mad about something that's not going to benefit me 5 minutes from now, 5 years from now, 5 days from now, 5 hours. I just cannot continue to hold that anger in. So if you want to just continue to make me upset, make me mad, I know that you need to stay out of my life because I don't think you want to cross some boundaries, because as a New Yorker, we could still be a little feisty at times, and I don't want to do that. I'm trying to be on a better path of my life and not go backwards. But that New Yorker, she's still there.
Yeah, I love that. Cheyenne, do you see yourself writing a lot of books in the future? And, what comes to your mind when you think of them having book clubs on your books?
Ooh, I didn't even think about a book club. The person who edited my book, the book that I published, which is Dream Big Young One, she told me she loved my book and I should do more books. And I was like, I was gonna do more books anyway, but for her to give me that confirmation, that confidence of she is confident in my work and I'm a great author, that I should do more, it just made me want to do it even more. But the way I go about writing books is it has to come from God. It has to be something like I can't just write a book. It's like painting. You can't just paint something and think it's gonna be great. It has to come with time.
And on that note, Cheyenne Gadsden, everyone. Cheyenne, thank you for chatting with So Booking Cool today. We have to chat again. Let everyone know how they can keep up with you and how they can get Dream Big Young One. Believe it, and it will come true. The new children's book.
You can follow me on Instagram at Cheyenne's Purpose. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Cheyenne Gadsden, and my book is on Amazon. It is in Kindle version and paperback copy.
And authors, other authors out there, what advice do you have for them who are starting the journey of becoming authors?
I would say if you're becoming an author, find what's your meaning, find what your purpose is. Just because if you have what your purpose is, your calling is that God gave you, you would know what kind of message you would want to put out into the world. Don't just put out something to just think you're going to make money off of it, because if it's not so good of a book, you're not going to make much money off of it. But if it's intentional and it has a really deep meaning that is connected to you, it can be relatable to everybody else. You'll make a great profit off of it, not just spiritually, but physically with funds.
Do you think readers can tell if an author just wrote a book for profit?
Yeah, you can really tell. You can really say this thing was a copy and paste. That really happened. That really do happen, and it happens a lot. A lot of things nowadays can just be copied and paste, and a lot of people just feel like, oh, well, if you do it, I can do it, and I can make money off it just like you. But if your heart and soul is not in it, it's not going to work out.
What is a New Year resolution that you want for society?
I want for society is to have self-healing. Everybody needs to go on a self-healing journey. Because if you're going to journey within yourself, you don't need nobody to go on this journey with you. Go by yourself. The Lord got your back. And just really work on who you want to become. Because there's a lot of people who are broken, a lot of spirits playing around with different people to cause harm in society. And everybody just needs to focus on themselves. Worry about themselves. Do for yourself. If you do all of those things for yourself, you will know how to mind your business.
So Cheyenne, are you into arts and entertainment?
I sure enough am. It's very enlightenment. You get to express who you are. You get to channel your inner self in a different light. I love YouTube, and I love the Christian movies that are on BET. Those movies are really great and inspiring. People they look past the real meaning of the movie. They think, oh, it's just another Christmas movie. It's not. It talks about the Bible. It talks about how to be a family, how to come together, how to be a unit. Oh, I need to be in a movie. I need to be in a movie just because I have a deeper understanding of why you are sending out the message just through inspiring and enlightenment like time. Like Christmas is supposed to be about love. It's supposed to be about coming together, unity. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just think Christian movies are just all the same, but they all have different meanings that ties back to Lord Jesus Christ.
So you've written a book. You've written books, actually, plural. So would you write a screenplay?
I would. I don't know what it would be about yet. And I don't think I would incorporate children super young, but I will incorporate the stages of a life. I don't know what it will be about, but it just will be your life journey of maybe a documentary, maybe a screenplay for a documentary. I don't know, but it will happen. I'm gonna mark it.
It will happen. Yes. And what about that next book that you wrote? When can we expect that?
That next book is in illustration process as of now. It will be out. I can't give a hard deadline, but it should be out by late May.
Okay. Of this year?
Yeah, of this year.
Okay.
And the title for that is Baby Boy, It's Okay to Cry. Now, I might change it, but that's the name for now.
We're going to be on the lookout for that. There you have it again, Cheyenne Gadsden. Dream big, young one. Thank you so much to all the viewers and all the listeners. Until next time, so booking cool.